Now that Brian Harsin can kind of take a deep breath, sort of, at least for now, he can finally focus on a 2022 season that needs to show some improvement. Now, there is plenty of talent on both sides of the football that suggests this Auburn team is still going to be tough to beat. But is it going to be enough for his fan base, for his boosters to say, hey, we believe in this guy, we believe where this program is going? These top 10 players have a chance to prove that their guy, their coach, is the right guy for the job and that they will play for him day in and day out and show that Auburn, like I said, is going to be one of the tougher teams to beat in the SEC. A running back that probably doesn't get a ton of attention when you look at the Bijan Robinsons, the Travion Hendersons, the Deuce Vaughns, so many names pop out. But Tank Bigsby is a running back that is really, literally his name, a tank. There are times where you think that you have him tackled and this dude just runs you over. There are times where he's not the quickest guy in terms of making you miss, but he is super strong. Great contact balance. His ability to find extra yardage, always falling forward, is something that you really like in a running back. And Brian Harsin wants to run the football, and he has a couple of good running backs that he can utilize, but Tank Bigsby is the go-to guy. He is the starter. He is the star of that rushing attack. And if the passing attack can't take a step forward, then he's going to see more time. He's going to see more touches, but also he's going to see more crowded boxes. So it's really on the passing attack to open up things because while he can run guys over, it's not going to be good for his longevity, for his future as an NFL back, and for the success of this program if all they can do is run the football. Now, there's a trio of defensive players that I'm really excited to watch again. Derek Hall is a player that everybody has circled on their scouting report. They know where he is. He's an extremely talented player who, like I said, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to get to the football, and he knows how to make plays. 12 and a half tackles for loss and 9 sacks are evident of that. And really, Auburn is going to face a ton of explosive offenses, a ton of talented players, and their ability to command the game and gain control of any game starts with the front seven. And they have the guys that can do that. They have the guys that are capable of making an impact and slowing things down for the opposing offense. And Derek Hall is going to be the first guy to step up and be that leader and be that playmaker for the Tigers. Another guy that's going to step up, and I mentioned this is a trio. This is number 2 of the trio. Colby Wooden, a defensive tackle who has the stats that make you notice him. This is not just the guy who's going to plug things up for the linebackers behind him, open things up for a guy like Derek Hall or even guys on the defensive line. He is going to make plays, and that is evident by his 8.5 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks last year. This is a potential All-American player at defensive tackle if he has the right season. And this front seven, like I said, is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. There are not going to be a ton of teams that are going to be able to block Auburn's front seven because of the talent that I have. Hall and Wooden are 2 guys that you definitely need to pay attention to. And if you put those guys on the same side, and you send extra tension their way, that leaves one-on-one matchups for guys on the opposite side or guys around them. Owen PAPPOE didn't have the great season statistically that you would want, but this is a player with a ton of talent, a ton of athleticism, and ability to make plays that I'm having him up here. Now, it might be a little bit high, but I really like what he can do. I like what I've seen from him in his limited time, but it just comes down to consistency. But like we said, this is going to be a front seven that is going to be one of the tougher teams to block. And we mentioned Hall and Wooden. If you're lining up behind them, odds are you're going to have open running lanes to go and make a tackle, to go and make a play. Tackle for loss, stop the ball carrier, you name it. And I am excited to see how Owen PAPPOE is able to take advantage of that because there's guys in front of him that can do things really well. And if he just lets them do their job, sometimes he's just going to fall into some really great plays. While everyone focuses on Tank Bigsby, Auburn has arguably one of the best second options at running back in JARQUEZ Hunter. An extremely athletic playmaker, averaged 6.7 yards per carry last year. 593 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's going to be limited because of Tank Bigsby, but I think that Auburn is going to still utilize him as much as possible. And why wouldn't you? If you're averaging almost 7 yards per carry, you have to get the football. He's also a great weapon as a pass catcher. Getting him the ball in space is going to benefit this team. It's going to open things up for the offense. Even if the passing game isn't what it should be, there's still an option out of the backfield. If you can't find guys downfield, JARQUEZ Hunter could be a guy that you can dump it off to, and good things typically happen. We've seen a number of good defensive backs at Auburn, and I think Nehemiah Pritchett is the next in that line. And again, when you face the number of talented players that you see in the SEC, you're going to find guys that either sink or swim. And Pritchett is a guy who's been swimming. And obviously, there's some things that still need to be shored up on the backside of the defense. But this is a guy who is going to be a star player. I think he's going to be really fun to watch. You lose Smoke Monday, so obviously that hurts in the secondary. But Pritchett is back to be one of those guys. And like I said, when you face the quality of talent that you face in the SEC on a consistent basis, you either need guys that are going to play or it's going to be a long day for you. Quarterback obviously is a big question, and we saw that in the spring game. Zach Calzada comes in from Texas A&M. Robbie Ashford came in from Oregon, and TJ Finley, the former LSU transfer, all are competing for the job. I really like Zach Calzada in terms of his ceiling. I don't really know what TJ Finley is going to be able to do. Obviously he nearly beat Alabama, but it felt like they just more kept Alabama in check offensively. I didn't really feel like TJ Finley was going to take over and win the game. I really like Zach Calzada, so if you want to put TJ Finley here or Ashford, whatever, I don't really have an argument against that. I just really like Calzada. If he can find some touch on his passes, he's kind of a fastball thrower. He just wants to laser things in there, but he's shown that at times he can throw a little bit of a changeup. And if he's able to do that more consistently, this offense takes on a whole new meaning because that passing attack is really going to open things up for everybody else. One of the guys that's going to benefit from that opening up is Shedrick Jackson. This is a wide receiver who 13.2 yards per catch isn't super explosive, but it shows that he has the potential to be. And there's quite a few pass catching options for whoever wins the quarterback job that makes this offense potentially scary. Because, like I said, if Calzada finds some chemistry, or Finley, or whatever, whoever the quarterback is finds some chemistry with guys like Jackson, you're going to see an offense that opens things up and takes more chances. Not just necessarily being more explosive. They're going to be a team that's more confident. They're going to be a team that, you're going to open the field up, and that makes even the running backs more explosive because with Tank Bigsby not facing as crowded of boxes, that means that he's going to get more yards per carry, he's going to do more damage, and that's exactly what this team needs. We don't talk about tight ends a ton, but Samuel Shenker is a quality option, and really when you look at Auburn tight ends, they're kind of underrated. And it's tough to say a team or a player is underrated in the SEC, but this is an underrated position because you're looking at, like I said, all the explosive players that you see at the Alabamas, at the Georgias. I mean, you look at Georgia's tight end room, that's insane. So Shenker's a guy that is going to fly under the radar because he's not as talented as them. But that doesn't mean he's not a playmaker. That doesn't mean that he's not an impact player, and you're going to see that again this year. Keeping the quarterback upright is another concern. Austin Troxell is going to be the go-to guy, the guy that they rely on to keep the lethal pass rushing attacks that they're going to face. You look at even in the Iron Bowl, you're going to have to stop Will Anderson somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen, but you're going to face a number of players that are going to play at the next level, and a guy like that is going to play a huge role. This is an Auburn team that has a lot to prove. Obviously, the offseason wasn't exactly great, but I think that if you're able to kind of silence some of those doubters, you get a game against Penn State that's going to be really interesting to see. You're going to get a team that is ready to play for their coach, or if things go bad, what happens there? But if things are going well, that's going to build a lot of confidence in this team. This is a team that will unite really well if they're able to find success early, and then it's really going to kind of quiet down all of those doubts about Brian Harsin, and it's going to really make you think that Auburn's in good hands with him running the show.